Good morning and welcome to session one of the Apollo Project's New Zealand Swimming Championships, live here from the Sir Owen G. Glenn Aquatic Centre in Mairangi Bay in Auckland. My name is Scott Rice, commentator and presenter for this week's championships. Fantastic to be back, and what a field we've got over 5 days of racing. A lot of the swimmers are looking in great form, both physically, mentally, chatting to them before the championships and really getting some positive comments coming through. This is a qualifying meet for the World Aquatic Championships taking place in Fukuoka, Japan in July this year. Also the Para Swimming World Championships in Manchester, that is end of July, start of August. The World Junior Swimming Championships, some of the younger swimmers hoping to qualify in that event, and also final qualification for the USA Tour, which is an elite camp of swimmers taking part in a couple of Grand Prix swims in the US. Now some new clubs taking part in this event, Club 37 for the first time. Zach Reed, lovely to have him back in the pool after a bit of rehab after the operation he had last year. And a few swimmers moving clubs around New Zealand, so a few changes to look forward to this week. A very, very short program for the first session one, the heats of the Apollo Project's New Zealand Swimming Championships. 400 metres individual medley for men. We will kick off this morning, just two heats. Luan Grobler will be in heat one, and then we've got the two club mates, Lewis Clareburt and Sam Brown in heat two. The qualifying mark for World Aquatics Championships, 4:17, and those three swimmers are right within the grasp. Obviously Lewis has had a time much faster. We then move to the 50-metre breaststroke para multi-class, where the Commonwealth Games gold medalist Joshua Wilmer will be taking part. Then we move to the 400 metres individual medley for women. Maya Rasmussen is the top seed in that event. Gina McCarthy in the first heat, Maya in the second, and that qualifying mark of 4:43. Will we see these swimmers go fast this morning trying to qualify? We'll have to wait and see. And then we'll finish off with the 100-metre backstroke para multi-class, where Commonwealth Games silver medalist in the women's Tupai Nuufi taking part in that one as well. So just 9 races this morning, a short session. We hope you enjoy it. Enjoy the action.
Apollo Projects is New Zealand's trusted specialist for the design and construction of sports, aquatics and education centres, and is proud to be the principal sponsor of Swimming New Zealand.
So the pointy end of New Zealand swimming here, and as we said, a number of swimmers look to be in great form. They've been preparing for the last 4, 5, 6 months for this championships, and this is where they need to perform. All swimmers for the World Aquatics Championships need to do a qualifying swim here over the next 5 days. The World Para Swimming Championships, they've had a chance to qualify since January last year, and this is their final opportunity to qualify. World Juniors, couple of talented juniors looking to get those qualifying marks, and then this USA Tour, a TYR Grand Prix swim, and the Speedo Grand Prix, I think, over there in California. And they'll be looking forward to getting a good team over there to prepare for the World Championships a few months later. So there's the lineup. It looks long, but it's only nine races this morning, just a 45-minute heat session. And we've got 5 nights of finals starting at 5:30 p.m. each evening. We'll be right back after this break to welcome our technical officials. Welcome back. This is day one, heat session number 1 of the Apollo Project's New Zealand Swimming Championships, live from Auckland. And we'd now like to ask you to put your hands together and welcome our technical officials onto pool deck. And introducing our referees this morning, Ron Clark and Jackie Forsyth. Our starters, Ross Gillespie, Joe Russell, and our technical director, Carlreen Gillespie.
Where do you want me to go? Okay.
Where we go? I'll go there.
And readying ourselves for heat 1 of event 1, the men's 400 metres individual medley. They are behind the blocks. We wait for the officials' signals to get us underway for the first race of the championships. Just the 4 swimmers in heat number 1. In lane 3, Daniel Calabot. Lane 4, Luan Grobbelaar. Lane 5, Blair Helms. And lane 6, Dieter Biswin. Luan Grobbelaar, the fastest in this heat, at posting a time of 4:16.78, which, if he were to do that this morning, would see him qualify for the World Championships. Qualifying time of 4:17.48. You wonder what his plan will be this morning. Is it to try and take the pressure off the evening swim? But 400 metres individual medley, a very demanding event, and maybe wanting to just conserve some energy this morning. Go through the motions, make sure the skills on the wall, the turns are top-notch going into the final. So just 9 swimmers swimming the heats of this event, meaning 1 will be knocked out for the final this evening. And swimming alongside, this is Blair Helms from North Shore. 20 seconds separating them on the program. And at the moment, pretty even here in the backstroke leg. Nice to see support from the clubs nice and loud early on in the champs. And Luan Grobbelaar really had a fantastic year last year. He had a bit of a lull, I remember, back in 221, but he really came back strongly last year. Getting right back to his best, starting to get those PBs again. Now, he's been in New Zealand, I think, from memory, about probably 5 or 6 years now. Started with the Kiwi Swim Club, now moved to Neptune in Otago in that fantastic program down at the Moana Pool. And keeping it long, stretching out in this breaststroke leg. He is a breaststroke specialist, Luan Grobbelaar, and just starting to open up a lead from Blair Helms. You can see the technique there, the head submerging completely underwater into that streamline off each of the breaststroke strokes. And one of the other tactics this morning will be getting into one of those middle lanes. Will really be a disadvantage to be in the outside lanes in the final for the 400 IM. You do want to keep in touch with the other competitors. And Luan Grobbelaar coming into touch with 100 metres freestyle to swim. His one heat swim this morning. Breathing every stroke, getting a lot of oxygen in, as is Blair Helms, breathing off to their right. Sitting in 3rd place at the moment is Dieter Biswin, followed by Daniel Calabot, the 16-year-old. Comfortable win here for Luan Grobbelaar, heat 1 of the men's 400 metres individual medley. Cruising in 4:28, 27.8. And Blair Helms looking at his time, 4:34. He's gone under that, maybe a PB for Blair Helms. It's a good swim from him. And it'll be Dieter Biswin who gets there 3rd to the wall. And there's the final result, 5 seconds in it. Next up, heat 2, the final heat of the men's 400 metres individual medley. Five swimmers in heat number 2. Lane 2 is Ethan Buchanan. Lane 3, Curtis Malsop. 4, Lewis Clareburt. 5, Sam Brown. And lane 6, Luke Gibson. The teammates in lane 4 and 5. Sam Brown now well outside of the age groups. He's 19 years of age. The New Zealand record holder in lane 4, and that time in your program is the New Zealand record. He did that at the Commonwealth Games last year. 4:08.70. And you wonder whether Lewis will try and get under that 4:17 mark this morning. Takes them through the first 100, just under 58 seconds. Interestingly, Sam Brown did a faster second 50 in that butterfly. And now into the backstroke leg. You can hardly say Lewis Clareburt has a weak stroke now. He's really worked on all of them. And one of the world's leading individual medley swimmers. And a swimmer to watch in the next year or two with the Olympics in Paris next year. And at 23 years of age, he's still in his absolute prime. He'll be growing in confidence and strength and learning month by month from the racing and training he's doing. And speaking to Lewis, I asked him earlier before the meet what was his goals in the next 12 to 24 months, and I loved his reply: get faster, way faster. And I love that because it's very simple. There's nothing else to worry about. If you get faster, everything happens for you. So out of all the swimmers I talked to, that was probably the simplest way to describe his goals. And Lewis is pretty excited just to get some national racing under his belt. He loves catching up with his mates and swimming fast. So the first event for Lewis Clareburt, training under Gary Hollywood at the Capital Swim Club in Wellington. And a real close bond there with coach swimmer Sam Brown. Also getting the advantage of a really strong squad down there in Wellington at the Freiburg pool. They train out of there, and the Wellington Regional Aquatic Centre. And coming through looking strong in this breaststroke, driving forward with those arms. And looking at the time, now if we see a 58 100-metre freestyle here, we could see the first of our qualifiers for the World Aquatics Championships. Lewis Clareburt certainly doesn't look like he's cruising this morning. Sam Brown about 3 or 4 seconds behind. And back to third place at the moment, Curtis Malsop from Neptune, Otago. They turn 3:48.93. We need to see a 28.5 return in this final 50 metres freestyle. Let's make some noise for Lewis Clareburt, ladies and gentlemen. Can we get our first qualifier for the World Aquatics Championships this morning? 4:17, and he's just outside this morning, but a great heat swim there. Sam Brown will touch for second, 4:24.96, just half a second outside of that qualifying mark. And he'll know where he can nip and tuck this evening to get underneath that qualifying mark, I'm sure. In comes Curtis Millsop in lane 3 to touch third. Fourth will be Ethan Buchanan, and fifth, Luke Gibson. That concludes event number 1 heats for the men's 400 metres individual medley. And there's the final result of heat number 2. We'll be back after a short break for the 50 metre breaststroke para multi class. Welcome back to the Apollo Project's New Zealand Swimming Championships, live from the National Aquatic Centre here in Auckland. We move now to event number 101, the 50 metre breaststroke for women para multi class. There are 2 heats, and this is heat number 1. And this is Riley Sayer, ladies and gentlemen, the 14-year-old from Matamata. He's got an entry time of 49.13. The 50 metre breaststroke, she's in class SB14. And let's see if she can get a PB this morning. And she holds the New Zealand record for this class in the time, her entry time of 49.13. So let's see if we can get a New Zealand para record this morning. 49.13. She comes through. New Zealand record for Riley Sayer. Congratulations. She looks ecstatic as well. Congratulations. SB14, 50 metre breaststroke. That was event 101. Next is the event 102, the men's 50 metre breaststroke para multi class. Apologies, so Riley was the only swimmer in that event 101, and what a way to swim her first event of the championships. Next up, event 102, 50 metre breaststroke para multi class for the men. Lane 2 is Denver Xavier. Lane 3, James Hayden. 4, Commonwealth gold medalist Joshua Wilmer. 5, Asher Smith-Franklin. 6, Bailey Conlon. 7, Joseph Blake. 50 metre breaststroke, para multi-class. Asher Smith-Franklin in SB14. Let's have a look at the time. He holds the New Zealand record in 34.92. 34.92 for Asher Smith-Franklin. Look at this. 33.51 New Zealand record. Looking at Josh Wilmer in the SB8 category. A 34.87 just outside his New Zealand record. But great swimming by our para-athletes in the 50-metre breaststroke. 2 New Zealand records already in this champs. Asher Smith-Franklin is really showing he's got the form already. And we'll see these boys and gentlemen this evening for the final. Fantastic technique there. Good drive to the wall. And a full body length and a half clear, but obviously each of these swimmers swimming in their own disability class. There were 5 of them in the SB14 class, just Joshua Wilmer in the physical disability class SB8. We will just jump to a break. We'll have the results, I think, and then jump to a break before we come back for the women's 400 metres individual medley heats.
Apollo Projects is New Zealand's trusted specialist for the design and construction of sports, aquatics and education centres, and is proud to be the principal sponsor of Swimming New Zealand.
Welcome back. Believe it or not, we're more than halfway through this session. We move now to event number 3, the women's 400 metres individual medley. There are 2 heats, and already beside the blocks is heat number 1. Lane 3, Neve Tasaka. 4, Gina McCarthy. 5, Charlie Twos. 6, Holly Nelson. The qualifying mark for the women's 400 metres individual medley for the World Aquatics Championships is 4:43.06. Qualifying mark for the US Tour, 4:52.97. And World Juniors, for those that qualify, 4:52.84. And that World Juniors is for swimmers that are born between 2005 and 2009, which by my calculation is up to 18 years of age, I think, from 13 to 18, 14 to 18, World Juniors. So looking at this field, we've got 3 swimmers that could potentially, Charlie Twos would need to go 4:52. And nice start here by Neve Tasaka in lane 3. Again, just the 9 swimmers in this event, meaning 1 will be knocked out for the final this evening unless there are disqualifications. And they've got to be really careful in the 400 IM. Lots of technical changes in the turns. Officials watching on carefully to the touches and the strokes. And Gina McCarthy just 0.4 of a second behind at the moment. And Gina McCarthy, now 20 years of age, swimming for the Hamilton Swimming Club in the Waikato. Always a bit of fun. Gina McCarthy, will look to see some of her personality shine through in the finals, that it always does. She seems to really have fun with her swimming. And McCarthy taking the lead now back off Tataka, just over half a second lead into the breaststroke. She's really worked hard on her breaststroke and often has won some titles in the breaststroke in the last 12 months, which has surprised a few. Probably taking some inspiration from Lewis Clareburt, who did all that work in the breaststroke. That was the part of the IM that was letting him down. And looking at swimmers of the past, Dean Kent, for example, a very, very strong 200-metre breaststroker. And you'll often see these 400 IM swimmers in the 200-metre events for the different strokes. Charlie 2 sitting in third at the moment, lane 5. Holly Nelson, lane 6. Will we see a qualification attempt this morning from Gina McCarthy? 4:43.06 is the qualifying mark. It could be a tough ask with a 3:43.14. Would need to see a 1 minute 100 freestyle, which could be out of reach this morning. Let's see what she can do. She's well out in front now. Gina McCarthy coming in, cruising in to win heat number 1 of the women's 400 metres individual medley. For 51.97. And that is underneath the USA Tour qualifying mark. And a good hit out this morning for heat number 1. Final result there, 4:51 through to 5:26. We move now to heat number 2, the final heat of the women's 400 metres individual medley. Lane 2, Heidi Ace. Lane 3, Amelia Feiner. 4, Maya Rasmussen. 5, Hope Shamil. 6, Samantha Fowler. New Zealand record for this event is held by Helen Norfolk back in 2008, 15 years ago, at 4:39.07. What a legend of a swimmer Helen Norfolk was. Now Helen Leslie. And Maya Rasmussen got a time not too far behind of 4:41.81, which if she were to swim it would see her comfortably go under the qualifying mark for the World Aquatics Championships. Training in Australia, don't often see a lot of Maya Rasmussen swimming on home soil, so nice to see her back for this qualification meet. And I'm sure being pushed by a very competitive squad over there in Australia. The facilities over there, the outdoor 50-metre pools, the investment behind elite swimming in Australia is quite incredible. And she leads the charge in the second heat here. Hope Jamil in lane 5, sitting in second. Amelia Finer, who's moved from Dargaville down to Neptune. Good move for her. She's sitting in third. And that squad down there in Otago, bolstered in the last few months with the inclusion of Zach Reed. And Kane follows. So Kane follows Zach Reed, now swimming amongst other new swimmers to the squad, under the tutelage of Lars down there and other coaches. And Maya Rasmussen swimming for Kiwi Manawatu here in New Zealand. She goes into the breaststroke leg now, 2:19.29. And it's going to be a good race this evening. McCarthy and Rasmussen. Maya Rasmussen heading into the 100 metres freestyle. That split of 3:43 was exactly the same as Gina McCarthy. So just it'll be interesting to see this final 100 freestyle. We had a 4:51 out of Gina McCarthy. We know this is only a heat swim. There could be more gas in the tank here. But a head-on battle tonight. Chance to go back, to rest up in the afternoon, to refuel, to refocus for tonight's final. And the FINA A 4:43.06, if neither swimmer or any swimmer reaches that mark, there will be an opportunity for a development time of 4:45.89. And coming through to finish, who's going to take lane 4 for the final? It will be Gina McCarthy. Maya Rasmussen will be in lane 5 this evening. And Hope Jamil, a strong finish for her, 5:03, just outside of her best. Amelia Finer finishes in 5:08, just underneath her entry time. And Heidi Ace coming in to finish and conclude the women's 400 metres individual medley event number 3. And we'll take a look at those official results from Heat 2. And let's see who's PB'd. And that was a good time for a couple of those swimmers in that field going underneath their entry time. Amelia Finer. And we'll have a short break and be back for the 100-metre backstroke para multi-class for men. Welcome back. Next up, event number 105, the 100 backstroke for men para multi-class. There are 2 heats, and this is heat number 1. Lane 3, Guy Harrison. 4, David Beck. 5, Lance Dusto. 6, James Hayden. 3 of these swimmers in disability class S14. And lane 3, Guy Harrison, is SB8, physical disability class from the Sun Devils. David Beck, the fastest of the times in the program for heat number 1 at 1:08.64. Now, Tama Salawota owns the New Zealand record for the S14 100-metre backstroke at 1:08.83, which is in fact slower than David Beck's entry time, which confuses me a little bit. And David Beck, here he comes. He's just outside 1:12.39. Good heat swim for him. Lance Dusto will take the second to the wall, closely followed by James Hayden. And in comes Guy Harrison, who's just outside his entry time. That is heat number 1. Heat number 2 ready to go. Extremely high stance on the blocks for Asher Smith-Franklin. He gets away very nicely. Asher Smith-Franklin, already a New Zealand record under his belt. Could he collect one in the form he's in? New Zealand record 1:08.83 in the S14 class. And in lane 4, Jesse Reynolds, the New Zealand record holder for the physical disability class S9 and a 1:04.58. His entry time just a second slower than that. Jesse Reynolds, great to see him back in the pool here in Auckland. Training for Hamilton. Representing Hamilton. And fantastic rating here from Jesse Reynolds, going toe-to-toe with the younger Asher Smith-Franklin. 9 years separating these two swimmers. 26-year-old Jesse Reynolds, 17-year-old Asher Smith-Franklin in two different disability classes. Let's have a look at the time. This is New Zealand record for Asher Smith-Franklin in the S14 class. He's blown that away by 2 whole seconds. I think we're going to see some great swimming this week from Asher Smith-Franklin. He keeps getting faster. He's one to watch worldwide. 1:06. That is a drop of 3.5 seconds off his PB. What a swim. Jack Bugler comes in 1:18.57. Denver Xavier coming in just over his PB, and here's Rowena Tristram Brown, who touches 1:46. That's a PB. Congratulations to all of our swimmers in the para multi-class 100 backstroke. Pretty happy with that one. Let's look at the result. We might be straight on to, there it is. Jesse Reynolds touches the wall first. He's about 2 seconds outside of his New Zealand record there. We move now to the final race of this morning's heat session. It is event 106, the 100 backstroke for women para multi-class. Commonwealth Games silver medalist Tupou Naufi in lane 4. Ella Ben in lane 3. Gabby Smith in 5. Lily Fox Mason in 6. Beautiful technique there of Tupou Naufi. Gabby Smith, the 16-year-old alongside her from Vikings. And let's have a look at these New Zealand records. S8 for Tupou. She owns the New Zealand record, 1:15.36. The S10 category, Gabby Smith. That is Dame Sophie Pascoe, 1:05.95. That would be a hard one to get. But looking for some strong performances here. The qualifying mark for the World Para Swimming Championships. 1:15.68 for S10. And Gabby Smith will take out this heat, and she comes 1:18.91. Lily Fox Mason follows Ella Ben and Tupou. And that concludes the racing this morning. We'll have a check of those results. And a short but sweet session this morning. 2 New Zealand Para records this morning. No qualifications so far for the World Aquatics Championships. Lewis Kleibert, the closest of them all, just half a second outside. And we'll be back after the results, perhaps, of this final heat. And then a quick break. We will then thank our technical officials. And there's that result. Unfortunately, Lily Fox-Mason disqualified out of heat number... Sorry, that heat of the women's para-multi class. We'll be back after the break to conclude the heat session. Well, thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Now put your hands together and thank our technical officials as they march off pool deck for their time this morning. And we'll be back after a quick break to wrap this session and run you through some of the action.
Apollo Projects is New Zealand's trusted specialist for the design and construction of sports, aquatics and education centres, and is proud to be the principal sponsor of Swimming New Zealand.
Well, what an exciting session this morning. There's going to be some big matchups this evening in the first of the final session here at the Apollo Projects New Zealand Swimming Championships. That 400 metres individual medley, Luan Grobbelaar, Lewis Kleibert, Sam Brown, the three of them in the middle of the pool. Lewis Kleibert, the closest to that World Aquatic Championships qualifying mark at 4:17.95. The other two swimmers are going to have to do a little bit of work to get down that fast. The women's 400 metres individual medley, Maya Rasmussen and Gina McCarthy, just 2 seconds separating them in lane 4 and 5 for the final tonight. That one's going to come down to the wire. The 50-metre breaststroke para multi-class for men, that was Josh Wilmer in there and a few other swimmers looking to come back. That New Zealand record this morning for Asher Smith-Franklin, fantastic swim for him. The 100-metre backstroke, both men and women, for para multi-class with Asher Smith-Franklin. Another New Zealand record for him this morning. He's on fire, so looking forward to seeing even faster times this evening. Hope you've enjoyed this short first session of these championships, and we'll see you tonight live from 5:25 p.m.